The Samsung Galaxy S22 lineup is going to be just awesome. In front of me, I have the S22 dummy units. Shout out to Sonny Dixon for sending these over. Also, quick disclaimer, this is all publicly known information. These dummy units have appeared in many other videos and articles. They've been everywhere, so we are a bit late to the party, but better late than never. And I have some interesting thoughts on these. In case you don't know what these are non-functional plastic mock-ups of the Galaxy S22 lineup, made by or for case manufacturers to get a good idea of the design and the overall dimensions. Oh, and almost forgot to mention, behind me, we have a new studio setup. So my team made some big changes in the background while I was away, and the new space looks pretty awesome. Like, you're probably only seeing a bit of it, and I cannot wait to show you guys all of it. So let's take a quick look at these S22 dummy units, see how they compare to the S21 lineup, and what we can expect in terms of dimensions and form factor. And I'm also going to show you why I think the S22 lineup will be by far the best one yet. Starting off with the Galaxy S22. This is the regular S22, the smallest variant, and this is rumored to have a 6.1-inch display, so the same size as the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 Pro. And holding both of them in my hand, I gotta say, they feel almost the same. And the Galaxy S22 is fully usable in one hand, at least with my hand sizes. It is a tiny bit narrower compared to the iPhone, so it's actually a bit more comfortable because of that. And even though the frame of the Galaxy S22 is also a tiny bit squared off, it's not as squared off as the iPhone, so it is considerably more comfortable to hold. Now, compared to the Galaxy S21, the S22 actually has a smaller display. So a 6.1-inch display versus the 6.2 that we had on the S21. This makes it easier to reach the corners and easier to use when you're on the go. The frame is, again, more squared off than on the Galaxy S21. It is easier to grip because of that, and it's not as uncomfortable as it was on the iPhone. Although the S21 does actually feel more comfortable than the S22 because of the frame being a bit more rounded. But overall, I just love the size of this phone so much. On the back, we have a triple lens camera module, actually very similar in design to the S21's. However, it doesn't actually blend in with the frame as much as it did on the S21. It's a bit more disconnected, so to say. So I actually do prefer the way it looked on the S21. It felt a bit more polished. Now, speaking of the camera, we are actually getting some major improvements here. So it is rumored to have a 50-megapixel main module from the 12 that we had before in the S21, then a 10-megapixel 3x optical zoom module from the 64-megapixel digital zoom module that we had before. This is very similar as on the S21 FE, which also has a 3x optical zoom module. The ultra-wide is remaining the same as on the S21, so 12 megapixels, same aperture. And it is also supposed to come with some very unique camera features. And if you want to hear more about those and the full specs, then definitely stay tuned for our final leaks and rumors. Subscribe to see that as soon as it comes out. Overall, my favorite thing about the standard S22 is just the size, like how small this thing is and how much it packs in this tiny body. Next up, we have the Galaxy S22 Plus, which has the exact same design as the regular S22, but with a larger display. So 6.6 inches compared to 6.1. Now, compared to the S22, they look quite similar in terms of the size, but once again, the new model has a slightly smaller display. This one had a 6.7, the new one is 6.6. They actually have the exact same width from what I can tell, but the S22 is actually shorter. And it's also a tiny bit thinner than before, so 7.6 millimeters compared to 7.8. I really do like the fact that Samsung made this more compact without reducing the screen size too much. And that's because the bezels are also expected to be thinner on the S22. Now, compared to the S21 FE, these two phones have almost the exact same size. The S21 FE has a slightly smaller 6.4-inch display, whereas the S22 Plus has that 6.6-inch, and that's because the bezels are quite a bit thicker on the S21 FE. If you simply want a larger S22, the Plus is basically just that. It has the exact same camera system, the same specs, the same everything. Of course, you get the larger display and a bigger battery, rumored to be 4,500 milliamp hours compared to 3,700. And then we have the S22 Ultra, which is the biggest change by far. So compared to the S21 Ultra, as you can probably tell, the S22 Ultra looks completely different. So it's way more squared off now compared to this rounded look that we had before. The camera bump is gone entirely. In fact, as you can probably tell, it doesn't even match the design of the S22 and S22 Plus's camera module either. In fact, it is way more similar to the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra from back in 2020. And that's because that's what it is. It's essentially a Galaxy Note, just with a different name. It even has an S Pen, as you can probably tell, although this is unfortunately not removable on the dumb unit. Speaking of the S Pen, the latency is set to be reduced to just 2.8 milliseconds, down from the 9 milliseconds that we had on the Note 20 Ultra and the Galaxy Z Fold 3. So that's a massive improvement here. Now, compared to the Note 20 Ultra, the Galaxy S22 Ultra is quite a bit thicker. Like, you can probably tell that it is visibly thicker. On paper, the new model is 8.9 millimeters compared to 8.1. This is likely due to not having a camera bump. But on top of that, the battery is also rumored to be significantly bigger, at 5,000 mAh compared to 4,500 that we had inside the Note 20 Ultra. The Galaxy S22 Ultra is also a tiny bit wider than the Note 20 Ultra was, as you can probably tell. It's got a same 6.9-inch display as the Note 20 Ultra, which is a bit larger than the 6.8-inch on the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Also, the display on the Galaxy S22 Ultra is curved compared to the flat one on the S22 and the S22 Plus. I know that some people prefer flat displays, some prefer curved displays. My personal preference is a curved, just because of how awesome it looks. But I gotta say, this phone is simply gigantic. I do love it. It's perfect for watching content, perfect for gaming, but it's just a big unit. So how does it compare to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is the most uncomfortable phone I've ever used? And that's because it's very tall, it's even wider, and it's also very squared off. Well, I hate to say it, but the S22 Ultra is even taller than that, and it's also considerably wider, as you can probably tell. However, because of the curved corners, it actually feels much better in the hand than the iPhone 13 Pro Max does. It's still difficult to use and pretty much impossible to use with one hand, but it is way more comfortable than the 13 Pro Max despite its bigger size. This larger size also makes it perfect for that S Pen. Now, what's really cool about this device is that it has the S Pen built in, unlike the Z Fold 3, for example, which, although it had a bigger display and it was easier to use the S Pen, the fact that it was not built into the device made it just quite inconvenient to use. Like, you always had to remember to carry it with you. Overall, I think that the best S22 phones are the regular S22 because of its size and the S22 Ultra because of its capabilities. S Pen, insanely powerful camera system, rumored to come with Samsung's 3rd gen 108 megapixel sensor, same 10x and 3x optical zoom modules that the S21 Ultra had, which was unbelievably good at zoom. But if I had to pick one, I would definitely go for the S22 Ultra, mostly for that camera system and that impressive battery life that this thing is supposed to offer. But do let me know which S22 model would you guys go for, and definitely subscribe for the Finally Rumors episode, which is coming out soon, and that's where I'm going to talk about all the specs, all the features, price, and everything else that we know. I'm Daniel, this has been ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.